Hello everybody, Manithral here and welcome to the weekly update video for RS3. Now this week we're going to kind of skim over the whole survey membership fiasco, but we'll get right into the weekly update here pretty shortly because there's already been a lot of doom and gloom surrounding the whole thing that happened with the survey. The important thing to keep in mind is not only people who received the survey spoke out against it, but people who were not part of the survey also spoke out against what was going on. And it sounds like there's probably a good chunk, if not the mass majority, is not on board with that proposal. So I would have to say we're probably in good that that's not actually going to happen. The only thing I'm thinking is we might see some options down the road, and I think this is actually a feasible option if they wanted to. Is that if they offered different types of membership, and there would be like a cheaper variant, but if you get that cheaper variant, you have in-game ads. I think that's fine. Don't upscale everything else. Just leave that as the base quota, but then add another option, if you will. Because maybe there's some people who want membership, but don't mind having a little bit of ads here and there that they have to, maybe whenever they first log out and whenever they log in, kind of type deal, they have to sit through an ad. I think that's feasible. I don't know about you guys, but if it's not going to actually impact the current game any, just those who opt into that option, I don't see a big deal. Not to mention it gives them a way to get membership and not have to pay the current prices, basically. But there's also so now we'll get into the actual game update, which is a patch week, but there is an Iron Man status changes. So with the release of Group Iron Man, they're addressing some of the long-standing issues affecting all Iron Man players. Previously, some Iron Men opt to lock into their Iron Man status permanently out of concern that a hijacker could access their account and downgrade it without their consent. Over time, however, they noticed that the increasing number of players regretting this decision. Maybe I'm one of them. Now that Jagged's accounts offer security measures to protect accounts from unauthorized access, they decided to remove the old permanent lock option, starting with today's update. So if you previously locked your Iron Man account, but now wish to downgrade, you'll be able to do so, provided your account is secured with a Jagged's account. For Iron Man still concerned about potential downgrades, the process now includes a mandatory 7-day waiting period after requesting a downgrade. Additionally, they've introduced an optional 90-day cooldown as a replacement for the previous Never Disable Iron Man game modes option. Once the 90-day cooldown is activated, it cannot be reversed, and switching back to the 7-day cooldown will no longer be possible. So it's something to kind of keep in mind. It's a similar aspect, but it's on a lesser scale. Patch notes. First up, we got the 110 wood cutting and fletching. MK2-4 eternal ranged equipment can now be disassembled in similar ratios to primal melee upgradable equipment. A message has now displayed when enchanted nest is dropped. Hatchets now display cutting power, their wood cutting success chance in the tooltips. All 3 ingredients can once again be reclaimed from Romarno to create additional hatchets of bloom and blight. Corrected an issue where, if influenced by the party's smithing or fletching levels, the tier of mining and woodcutting resource nodes in the dungeoneering could default to tier 1 instead of tier 9 or 10. Description of the masterwork bow shavings and Hidi now mention eternal magic tree sap to aid in discovering the step of the masterwork bow creation process. They did hotfix a fletching unstring bows once again counts towards the fletching bow's daily challenge. Beneath Scaber Sands, Leela now correctly says the "I'll meet you there" player line when speaking to Osmond for a reminder after the initial dialogue. Updated the text of the Priest Notes lore book. Made small tweaks to the dialogue beneath Scaber Sands. Quest to remove lore inaccuracies. Fix an issue that listed up to the quest incorrectly in the combat quest filter. Fix a quest journal mentioning an incorrect location for Scabarus. The purple text is now easier to read against the background when using mobile UI full screen dialogue boxes during the quest. Fix the typos relating to the melancholy scarab in the mine sequence. The item score sand no longer appears in the Grand Exchange. Ironman, so as we talked about before with the 7 and 90 days, is there. The level milestone broadcasts have been added to Group Ironman. Group Ironman broadcasts for personal boss kill times are now display improvement from the previous record. Added a new broadcast to the Group Ironman mode that will display when a group member dies. A good luck trying to explain those embarrassing deaths. Collection logs progress will now be broadcast to the Group Ironman groups. Updated the names of the world first flag in the Iron Enclave. In general, remove the cap when receiving clue scrolls from the clue capacity upgrade, unlocking the treasure trail reward shop. Happy hunting. Fix an issue where interacting with the action bar while stunned would block actions that would otherwise be usable. Purdian and unstable Purdian logs will now stop and adhere to Purdian action limits of 60 or 120 under certain conditions. The health boost of tending to a bonfire will now apply to the fire-making methods that originally applied to only permanent bonfires. Fix an issue where the freezing blood debuff was only stacking 10 the first time and then disappearing randomly. The debuff now stacks appropriately each time. Added an option to mute the vomiting sound effect during the Imp Catcher quest. Corrected an incorrectly textured tile north of Drainer Manor. The mentioned tutorial now has additional checks preventing players from attempting to complete it with their invention XP blocked. Fix an issue where the Greater Runic Staff could not be charged with a Sanguine spell and would be instead charged with the Incite Fear spell. Fix an issue that caused unintended logouts when creating primal fruit pulps while having ingredients of the Beast of Burden. While this issue has been fixed, it has caused a UX to show and make X option more pulp available. Regular trees can now be cut for more than one log before they felled. Music tracks from Violet is Blue will be unlocked on the next login for all players that have completed the quest. Resolve the rare issue where the specific player was unable to progress in the Catcher quest. Fix an issue that blocked the players from progressing the quest. The Golem after starting the Heart Stealer quest. Need a drink. Players will now get to choose which item they want to pickpocket from the curator Hag Hallen. Or Haig. Fix an issue where the specific scenarios of the Archglacier basic and special attacks could be interrupted by another attack too soon, causing the initial animation to be overridden early. The subsequent attack will now wait until the previous attack has finished firing. Fix an issue that prevented double yield from bushes while the Tinker is summoned. The Dungeoneering party window will now show floors and players' highest skill, including those past level 99. Players can toggle off invites to the Copriara dance so they are not interrupted while crafting. Added an option to toggle drag items on and off in the Legacy interface mode. Fixed an issue with the Herbie Werby D&D where firemaking XP gained between firemaking levels 99 through 110 was unintentionally lower than expected. Implemented some changes and fixes to the Lexicus Runewrite boss. Added a deflect melee head icon to the Lexicus Runewrite to more clearly deflecting damage mechanic. Fixed an issue that resulted in the player doing 0 damage to the boss if using melee. This has also now been fixed that you'll do 75% of damage and take 25% as intended. Updated penguin location hints in the northern Kandrin and Fremennik provinces. Removed a thin strip of near where they see hint from the north of the province. Added the near where they see hint to the Sears Village. Re-added the on a small crescent island hint to the Waterbirth Island. Added a hint to the between Camelot and Fremenic province that previously gave it a beyond detection hint. Players will no longer be prevented from completing the Druidic Ritual quest if they previously completed the old version. Druidic Ritual is no longer a requirement to start a Void Dance quest. The 3 Zakiln achievement now specifically specifies which combat styles are required to complete it. If a summoning familiar from a binding contract is overridden by a recolorable pet, its colors will now be correct. Fix an issue where the friends chat list was not updating the clearing players' nicknames when players leave the chat. Remove skill requirements from Telos in the Beast interface tab. Igniting a sharp shell shard can now reward the players of Bernie, the fire-making pet. Fix an issue when defeating the giant mole in a group rewarded some players the incorrect combat XP. Fix an issue that allowed players Slayer task streak to remain if they chose to reset the Birthwort Pass system. The confirmation display has been updated to reflect the change. Higher level planks can now be used to build the Grapevine farm frames and farm paddocks. The power burst of Master Stroke now multiplies smithing progress by 10 instead of 11. Fix an issue where players would be unable to teleport into Infernus if they happen to die and be saved by the Immortality ability as they were about to teleport in. Bank tab icons now have the correct names. The crystal sequence now correctly highlights all 6 crystals during Three's company. Added the skybox/filter option to the map icon in the Flash Powder Factory. Players can no longer obtain more effigies from the Gate of Elidness if they have more than 5 in total. Fix an issue where players with too many POF animals stored in their banks couldn't use their bank on free-to-play world and would be kicked out of the game. Fix an issue that was causing old accounts to be unable to log in after going through the character creation. Graphical. Fix the positioning of pickaxes when sheathed. Fix an issue where in specific scenarios the Archglacier basic deck animation may not be visible. Both sides of the rainbow and phoenix auras are now equally vibrant. Fix an issue that was causing the Pestilent Torva outfit preview in the Treasure Hunter interface from displaying incorrectly in minimum detail. Robe of the first Necromancer shoulder pads and no longer misaligned on female characters. The Spikes and Wild Spikes hairstyles are now distinctly different the hairstyles presented in the chat heads. Fixed missing side on the overhead tombstone skilling overrides. Updated the Ruler of the Ancient Dead teleport animation to resolve the positioning of the orbs. The Soul Witcher bottom no longer clips with long capes. Chat heads for monks and the Priests of Paraquest have been corrected. They will now show up correctly during the dialogues. Removed old wall models from the ruins in the wilderness west of the bandit camp. The waterfalls on Apatol should now be more consistent. Removed a transparent shape that was including Stratus Cloud. Fixed the fence next to the Cook's Guild. Fixed a couple of the graphical issues with the Crypt Bloom armor. Corrected Skippy's head animation. Thalmon's beard no longer stretches or distorts. Fix an issue which causes stretching when the effect of the Necklace of the Salamencia is active. Birds located in the Nature Altar entrance of Karamja are now displayed correctly. Fixed 120 skill capes clipping. Closed gaps in the ground and inside the burrow's tunnels. Removed the duplicate floating trees and mostly harmless. Made some tweaks to how magic ranged and melee select projectiles and impact animations. Stalling blood tendrils will no longer immediately play the animation. Greater barge assault will no longer mistakenly play the assault animation. Berserk ability overrides now use the correct animation for the equipped weapon. Corruption shot, impact, and damage over time animations now line up more accurately. Fixed an issue that caused extra projectiles to briefly be shown when using the Chinchompas in combat. Adjusted how ricochet impact animation display on AoE targets. Adjusted the hit timing of Deadshot and Omni Power so that the impact animations cannot start before the projectile arrives. Adjusted the animations for Deadshot whilst wielding a blowpipe. And the Golden Gnomes are coming up. Nominations will be open until Thursday, January 23rd. Already ready for summer here, apparently. Once those nominations are in, the Golden Gnomes panel will review all nominees, and the shortlist will be announced on Thursday, January 30th. So that is coming up here pretty soon, actually. Within the next couple days. Treasure Hunter calendar, starting the 23rd and the 27th, it's Dungeon Delve. So there's also stuff like the warped and frozen versions of Surge, Dive, Escape, Overpower, Deadshot, and Omni Power. So something to kind of keep in mind. But there's a new warped and frozen themed animation overrides as well. Community Showcase. Well, first we have these are either macaroons or, macaroons. So my name is Pickle Meats and Macaroons, and they are made to look like runes. Pretty awesome. And then we have a mini made here of the Shadow Colossus from Emu Crow. Looking pretty awesome, pretty vicious. And then Scaper screenshots. Up first, we have some celebration going on for the 2024 celebrating, the anniversary jackets. This is by Jay Sindab. And then we have a player overlooking party rolled out of bed, and they decided to just enjoy Manithral. Honestly, it's still a beautiful area. Celebrating 10 years of the Pink Skirt player event, so that is something going on. But the celebration and anniversary island, the Pink Skirt team would like to invite you and to their extra special anniversary. It will be taking place January 23rd, which is Thursday, which is beginning at 16:45 game time. Location is the anniversary island. World 76 to 1700 game time. They encourage everyone to release pink origami balloons on the island. But please come and dress in a pink skirt and your best pink outfit pieces and all the accessories. 1720 they'll be heading to 443 to celebrate to continue the celebration with a skill and chill. But speaking of the pink skirt events, so Monday there's a Corporal Beast Mass at 1900, skill and chill 2300. Tuesday there's a Penguin Tour 700, Next Mass 1700, Vindicta and Gorvik Mass 1900. Wednesday, Gregovic Mass 1200, Croasis 1800, Penguin Tour 2000, Demon Flash Mobs 2100. Thursday, Treasure Hunt 700, Pink Skirt Anniversary 1700, Osiris Mass 1700, Skill and Chill 1900, Calvite King Mass 2100. Friday, Next Angel of Death 100, Megaduck 1900, Next Angel of Death 2000, Non-Combat Stealing Creation 2015, Zemergel and Vorkath 2130. Saturday, Calvite King at 1300, Group Achievement 1800, Archglacier 1900, Next Angel of Death 2000. Sunday, free to play King KBD at 000, Mazcab Breed 1700, Virago 1800, Next Angel of Death 1900, Penguin Tour 1915, Calvite King 2000. So do go ahead and join the appropriate areas to be able to see the anything else that you really need to see what's going on with that. But do check that out. They have a whole bunch of different chats. They're actually not listing anything else, so that might be it for this week. But yeah, there's nothing else listed, including none of the FCs. But there's also a community spotlight for free-to-play Ironman FC. So that is a support group for free-to-play Ironman players. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary this week. There is a fancy dress parade and skill and chill at 2000 January 23rd, World 11 Birthroad Lodestone. FC is a free-to-play Ironman FC. Then there's a KBD Mass at 000 January 26th and 000 January 27th. World 29 location is Edgeville Bank, and of course it is the free-to-play Ironman FC. That's actually it for this week, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, later, guys.